There is a lot of sewing advice out there. Some of it is incredibly helpful. Some of it has been passed down for generations. And some of it might need a thoughtful update. Sewing has a long history, and with that history comes tradition. Many of the rules we hear are rooted in experience and practicality. But fabrics have changed, machines have evolved, and the way we learn sewing today looks very different than it did even 20 years ago. Because of that, some advice that was meant to be helpful can start to feel rigid, overwhelming, or unnecessarily intimidating. Hello friends, and welcome to Parks Crafty Creations. I'm your host Brian Parks. Today, I want to talk about sewing advice that may need to retire, or at least be reconsidered. Not because tradition is wrong, and not because fundamentals don't matter, but because context does matter. In sewing, understanding why we do something is far more important than following a rule without thinking about it. Before we jump in, if you enjoy this content, be sure to give us a like down below, as it really does help out the channel. Do it now, please. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell icon so you'll always be notified whenever a new video drops. And hey, if you love what we do here, don't forget to share us with your friends. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's dive in. As I started sewing, I think one of the most common comments I heard was that I needed an expensive machine in order to sew well. There's this quiet assumption that if your stitches aren't perfect or your projects don't look professional, the problem must be your machine. Let me be absolutely clear on this, and I know I'm probably going to tick off a lot of people when I say this could not be further from the truth. One of the first machines I worked on was a Singer featherweight that belonged to my mom, which, if you're not familiar, only does a straight stitch unless you buy an attachment for it. And it only goes forward and backward. It's about as simple as it gets. When I got my own first sewing machine, it was a hand-me-down Necky from my grandmother, a mechanical sewing machine from the early 80s that did straight stitches, zigzag stitches, and a simple buttonhole that couldn't get more manual. And if you want one for yourself, you can pick up a good one on eBay for around $89, plus shipping the last time I looked. Here's the reality of what we do. Most garments and projects that 80 to 90% of sewists will ever do only rely on very basic functions. A straight stitch, zigzag stitch, balanced tension, and proper pressing will take you very far. Beautiful sewing comes from understanding fabric, choosing the right needles, sewing carefully, and pressing as you go. And while it's true that higher-end machines can offer convenience, smoother motors, and extra features, the fact remains that an expensive machine does not replace strong fundamentals. Upgrading can make sense when you outgrow your current machine, and by that, I mean when your current machine is actually holding you back. But the idea that you need a high-end model just to produce good work is just flat out wrong. Skill creates polish far more reliably than price tags do. Another piece of advice that gets repeated constantly is that you should always pre-wash everything. And believe me, I know plenty of people in my own circle that are probably frothing at the mouth over me saying this. This rule actually comes from a very logical place. Pre-washing prevents shrinkage after a garment is finished. It can remove excess dye, and it helps you understand how the fabric behaves before you cut into it. For garments or projects made from natural fibers like cotton or linen, pre-washing is often very important. However, applying this rule universally can create unnecessary stress. There's structured bags, certain home decor projects, and specialty fabrics where pre-washing may not be necessary, and in some cases, it may even change the structure or finish that you want. Instead of always pre-wash everything, a more helpful approach is to understand your fiber content and your project first. If you're making a fitted garment that you don't want to shrink after the first time it's washed, lest it suddenly become too small, you'll want to pre-wash that fabric. And trust me, you'll only make that mistake once. Maybe twice if you're me. When you know why pre-washing matters, you can make an intentional decision rather than following a rule automatically. Another well-known piece of advice is that you must make a muslin every single time you sew a garment. Muslins are incredibly valuable tools for fitted bodices, tailored garments, and structured pieces where fit is critical. Testing the pattern beforehand can save both fabric and frustration. At the same time, applying that rule to every project can create hesitation, especially for simpler makes. If you're sewing an elastic waist skirt, loose pajama pants, or a relaxed fit top, a full muslin may not always be necessary. I'll be the first to admit, I rarely use them for what I make. They're simply not necessary. The purpose of a muslin is to test fit and construction. If the garment has minimal fit complexity, you might choose instead to measure carefully, grade between sizes, or use an affordable fabric for your first version. The key is not rejecting muslins altogether, but using them thoughtfully rather than universally. Another piece of advice that deserves a second look is the idea that you must follow the pattern exactly as written. Patterns are drafted carefully, and the construction order is chosen with intention. Following instructions closely is important when you're learning. However, as your skills develop, patterns become guides rather than strict laws. In fact, early patterns were quite literally nothing more than the pattern, because at the time, home sewing was commonplace. You already knew how to sew. You weren't relying on instructions in a pattern to teach you. But over the years and decades, as home sewing has become less commonplace, the need to include more and more instructions in the patterns has grown because knowing how to sew simply isn't taught as regularly as it once was. All that being said, the instructions included in a pattern isn't written in stone. You may find that you prefer French seams instead of a zigzag finish, or that you like to understitch in places that the pattern doesn't mention. You might adjust the hem depth or change the finishing method on an exposed seam. None of that is wrong. In fact, that's how sewing judgment develops. I have a vest pattern I regularly use for my mom that doesn't use any sort of lining at all, and I thought the inside of the vest turned out ugly. So I started using the pattern more for the basic shape and size of the vest, but finished everything completely different and incorporated a lining inside to make it far more polished. Understanding why something is done allows you to adapt it confidently. Sewing becomes much more empowering when you realize that patterns are tools meant to act as starting points, not boundaries. There's also an unspoken piece of advice that can be particularly discouraging. And that's the idea that if your project doesn't look perfect, you're not good at sewing. Social media often shows flawless top stitching, perfectly matched plaids, and beautifully pressed seams. What we don't always see are the seam ripping sessions, the tension adjustments, and the trial and error that happened before the final result. Sewing is iterative. Improvement comes through repetition. You learn how fabrics behave by working with them. You refine your technique by making small corrections over time. Pressing alone can completely transform a project. Careful top stitching can elevate it. Trimming bulk and grading seams can clean up areas that once felt messy. Perfection is not the starting point. It's the result of refinement, and refinement takes practice. Finally, there's the common belief that sewing should save you money. In certain situations, that can be true. In fact, I'm working on a blouse for my mom that's doing exactly that by about 50% over what the retail stores wanted. But quality fabric, thread, notions, and the time you invest all have value. Sewing is often more about customization, control over materials, and construction quality than it is about producing the cheapest possible garment. I personally got into sewing when I couldn't find what I was looking for, and had to resort to making it myself. And the times I have the most fun sewing is when I do create that one-of-a-kind piece that nobody else on the planet has. And there's honestly no better satisfaction than having somebody ask, "Where did you get that? I want one." When you shift your mindset from "I'm sewing to save money" to "I'm sewing to build skill, create quality, and expand my creativity," your expectations change. Sewing becomes less about competing with fast fashion prices and more about crafting something intentional. The value becomes long-term durability, better fit, and creative freedom. Sewing has deep roots, and many traditional techniques are incredibly valuable. The goal is not to discard tradition, but to understand it. When you understand the reason behind a technique, you gain the ability to apply it thoughtfully. Context matters. Fabric matters. Project type matters. The more you understand the why behind sewing advice, the more confident your decisions become. Instead of feeling restricted by rules, you begin to use them as tools. Now, it's your turn. I would love to know what sewing advice you've heard that felt overly rigid, or what rules you've adapted over time. Sewing is always evolving, and thoughtful conversations help all of us grow. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a like down below. It really does help out the channel. And if you enjoy discussions like this, make sure you're subscribed, and don't forget to ring that notification bell icon so you'll never miss out whenever a new video drops. Thanks so much for joining me today. I've been your host, Brian Parks, for Parks Crafty Creations. Happy sewing, and we'll see you next time.